So if you're dressing like this, wearing 25 different logos at the same time, it's safe to say this look is screaming, I'm trying too hard. Seriously, when you have the name of the brand right there screaming for people's attention, this doesn't make you look stylish. It makes it look like you're trying to prove your worth through your clothes. Now some of you guys may be thinking, well, Antonio, isn't that what you talk about on this channel? The answer is no, although it is a common misconception. No, what I talk about here is understanding who you are and then wearing the appropriate clothing that sends the message you want to send. My goal is for you to be able to walk into a room and not have to say a thing because your image and presentation says it all. You're powerful, you're competent, you're in charge, you're attractive. Next up on this list, wearing sunglasses indoors. Now I get it, your future's so bright, you gotta wear shades. But the reality is, gents, unless you got an eye condition or you're a rock star, there really isn't a reason to wear your shades indoors. Now, is there a hard and fast rule against this? The answer is no. I've never seen any law on the books that stops you from doing this. But the thing is, when you're indoors, especially when you're talking with people, it's important you can look at people in the eye. Sunglasses prevent this, and that makes you less approachable, which I guess could be a fine counter argument as to why you should do this. I also understand the point. I'm just going to be indoors for a few minutes, or I don't want to put my sunglasses down and put them on top of my head because I don't want to damage them. Which just goes to show the vast majority of the signs I'm talking about in today's video, there are going to be exceptions to them. The next sign that you may be trying a little bit too hard, wearing every color under the rainbow. And on top of that, you're throwing in some flashy patterns for good measure. Gentlemen, this combination does not make you look stylish. It makes you look like a clown. Actually, I take that back. Clowns have more style than this. At least they have a reason and they're coordinating a few things. This combination is just a friggin' mess. Now, I'm not against color and I'm not against pattern, but I do think you need to know how to pull this off. First up, you want to have your foundational colors. This is going to make up 80 to 90% of your wardrobe. We're talking black, white, gray, brown, navy. And of course, when there are blues, it comes in many variations along with browns and grays. Now, this may not seem exciting, but it's going to make your wardrobe incredibly versatile. You can mix and match things. And when you do bring in color, it's going to pop. And if you're familiar with cooking, the analogy I like to use color as is it's a bit of spice. It's a bit of salt. If you put in too much, it's going to overpower the dish. But if you put in just the right amount, especially salt on meat, it pulls out the flavor. It actually makes the meat more tender. It adds to the dish. It shouldn't take away. The next mistake that's going to make you look like a tryhard, trying to wear a t-shirt with a sports jacket or a suit. Now, wearing a crew color shirt with a suit can be done, especially if it's a higher quality shirt. Maybe it's a knit, maybe it's a design that just simply looks good with a sports jacket or even casual suit. But it's an advanced look to pull off, and unless you're the emperor who no one is going to say anything about you wearing a bad combination, or you're the founder of a startup company, I think for the majority of guys, this is something they should reserve until they're a bit more fashion forward. Now, I get why a lot of guys do this. They don't want to wear an uncomfortable dress shirt. And yeah, they've got a polo shirt, but it's got that bacony looking collar that just falls right under the jacket and doesn't look good. Well, gents, if you're looking for a shirt that has the best of both worlds, we're talking a dress shirt collar with a polo type of comforter, guys, you need to check out Collars & Co. Now, for over a year, Collars & Co. has been sponsoring my videos, and I'm proud to have them because I love what these guys do. They saw a problem. They saw an issue. So many guys want to look good in a sports jacket or a casual suit or even a suit, but they don't want to wear the dress shirt. They wanted a shirt that was more comfortable, a shirt that was more breathable. At the same time, those polo collars weren't doing it. They wanted a strong, structured collar with a nice front placket that it would almost look like a dress shirt. And if you're traveling, another great thing about this shirt is it's wrinkle resistant. You can pull this right out of your luggage and you can wear it, boom, right out without having to get it steamed or ironed. And proof of how innovative this company was, they were on Shark Tank and Mark Cuban invested $1 million into this company. Seriously, he's been spotted wearing these shirts on television, in magazines, because he loves what they do and the problem they solve. And that's the same for me. When I want a collar that's going to look great on one of the most important days, here we are at Marina's baptism, my youngest daughter. What am I wearing? A Collars & Co. shirt. Gents, if you want a comfortable shirt that gives you the look of a dress shirt without all the hassle, you can easily layer, you can wear anytime in the year, go over to Collars & Co. They've got a wide range of different collar styles, different materials. I would highly recommend look at the existing polos and dress shirts in your wardrobe. Those should be the ones you start with. The whites, I know for me it was navy, maybe it's going to be a true blue. In any case, gents, make sure to use that link in the description of today's video. Go to collarsandco.com/RMRS. Use that link to get the best deal on the web. Now, this next one, I'm embarrassed to say I've been guilty of. You buy a new fragrance, you love that foo-foo juice. You just keep spraying that stuff on and you are choking people out. Gents, when it comes to fragrances and colognes, think less is more. I know Michelle over at Curly Fragrances is going to call me a sissy sprayer, but the reality is there are some fragrances out there that really grab attention. And even though it can turn heads, they can also turn a lot of people off. And if you're single, you've probably heard that sweeter fragrances draw in the ladies. That's true to a point. Too much of a good thing, it can have them running out the door. Now, if you were to ask me where to start, what's the most inoffensive fragrance out there, definitely it's going to be in the citrus families. Most people associate these type of scents with just simply smelling clean, and they're a little bit harder to overspray with. That being said, it can be done, so don't go crazy. 2 to 3 sprays, again, in the chest area, maybe 1 on each wrist is going to be the most you want to start with. But you may find some fragrances don't project very much. They don't sit closer to the skin. Now, what if you're going to be out all day? What if you want to smell good in the afternoon? Well, in that case, I highly recommend you pick up a travel atomizer. In case you didn't know, the lid pops off most 50 ml, 100 ml fragrances. And if you buy a travel atomizer with a female end at the bottom, you simply stick in the male end, boom, you make magic happen, and you will have enough fragrance for the week. Yeah, reapplying a fragrance a few hours later is better than putting on 30 sprays first thing in the morning.
Stupid! No, you can't overspray.
On a side note, be aware of olfactory fatigue. This is when you put on a fragrance and you can't smell it after 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Your body naturally does this. Becoming nose blind is actually a defense mechanism because it acclimates you to what you're already smelling and it makes you aware, is there a new smell? So it's one of those things that kept us alive. However, just because you can't smell the new fragrance doesn't mean other people can't. So again, be careful with over applying. Next up, let's talk about wearing too much hair product. And again, I've been guilty of this one. I'm always testing out new products, trying new things, and I don't always know. One product may require only a little bit, other ones a little bit more. Point being is, could you actually use less? Now, I don't think this one's too bad, especially if you've got a lot of hair, but if your hair is thinning on top and you're trying to comb it over, make it look like, yeah, you do have hair, here's the thing. Nobody is full. Now, instead of the comb over, either own the look by go ahead and shaving the head and going bald, or cutting the hair shorter, and again, owning the look. Next up, let's talk about the half tuck. So you have to take a stand. Tucked or untucked. Now, if the shirt has tails, it looks like a dress shirt like this does here at the bottom, of course you will tuck this shirt in. If it has more of a straight bottom, this is a shirt that you actually have the option of tucking in or wearing untucked. Now, there are some shirts that are kind of in between and other ones that are clearly made to be worn untucked. Yeah, that fashion trend we had a while back with those really long shirts, those are clearly made to be worn untucked. The point is, gents, you got to take a stand. With the half tuck, yeah, you are there in the middle, you are lukewarm. And what does God say about being lukewarm? Revelations 3:16. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. Yeah, I actually remember that quote as a kid. I was always surprised, though, that God didn't have a stance on square-toed shoes. Seriously, everyone knows those things are the work of the devil. Now, speaking of tucking in, let's go over to layering. So 1 layer, 2 layers, maybe 3 layers, that looks fine. Once you start going 4, 5, all of a sudden you're trying to show this off. Guys, we are getting into trying way too hard with these looks. If you're going to layer, first up, is it the appropriate weather? Functionally, is this going to are you doing this to stay warm? Second, most of the layers should be on top, and 3 is probably going to be max for most outfits. Again, there are exceptions to this. I've seen some guys be able to pull off 4, but yeah, it's 5. No. The only exception to this would be popped polo collars. I always say the more the merrier. If you can look like this guy, you're on top of it. Now, what about hats? What about fedoras? So neckbeard gets called out all the time here. The thing with this look is it's more cosplay. It's more of a costume. If you are wearing, let's say, a fedora that's a bit breathable, or maybe you're wearing a trilby, you find a hat style that works for you and it's functioning to keep the sun off of your head. A lot of guys that have gone bald, have shaved their heads, they love hats and they're very good. They get very good with hats because they realize it's a functional purpose. If you don't wear a hat, you are going to have a burnt head. So if you like hats, you want to start wearing hats, you think hats can add a lot to your style, go into a good hat store. Try on a variety of different styles. Find something whose proportions work for you, and functionally, you would actually find a reason to wear this headwear. Because the reality is, so many of you guys are already wearing baseball caps. You wake up in the morning, you head into the store, you don't want to do your hair, you just simply throw a cap on. What if you could change this up with a flat cap, maybe bring in a newsboy? I don't know, maybe a Panama. Guys, find what works for you and then make it happen. Now, this next one is more psychological than anything, but you're wearing items to get compliments. And nothing wrong with getting a compliment. It is nice. And I'll tell you the secret to getting compliments is to give them first. But if you're only wearing these items because you want recognition, because you want to feel better about yourself, then I do think that can come off as trying too hard, especially if your self-worth is somehow connected with what you wear. Remember, this doesn't matter. What matters is the man you are, the person that you work every day to become that little bit better. The clothing is just simply its shine on the diamond that allows people to see how brilliant you are. Now, what if you're in your 30s, 40s, or beyond and you're trying to look youthful? You're wearing clothes that are too young for you. Is that trying too hard? Well, guys, I cover all that in this video right here. I talk about, if you're in your late 20s, how are you wearing clothing that was designed for 18-year-olds? Is that okay? Guys, I talk about this right here because so many guys, they want to dress young. They simply want to look good, but they're doing it wrong. And we cover it in this video, how to dress young. Doesn't matter if you're 25, 45, 55. You're going to enjoy this video. It's a good one. Boom, right there.